Natalia, but everyone calls me the saw lady because I play the musical saw. Is a saw just like any carpenter uses for cutting wood. You use it as a musical instrument. Basically, it's the vibrations of the metal that make the sound. And it's a very old tradition. It dates back 300 years at least. But in the past 100 years or so, not that many people play it. I used to be a dancer. I was a trainee with the Martha Graham Dance Company. I taught tap dance. I danced in musicals. But one day I was coming back from Lincoln Center and I was crossing Central Park South and I was hit by a car. And that was the end of my dance career. So my parents wanted to cheer me up, and that is why they took me on a trip to Austria. Why Austria? Because that is where the movie The Sound of Music was filmed, and when I was a child that was my favorite movie. I watched it like 14 times. While we were there, we went to see a show for tourists, and part of this show was a guy playing the saw. And it was the first time that I've ever encountered such a thing, and it was the first time since the accident that I felt excited about something which wasn't dance. So I went backstage and I spoke with the man who was performing, and I asked him if I can schedule a lesson with him. And he said no. He said, go home, pick up a saw, any saw, like from a hardware store, imitate what you remember me doing, and figure it out. So that's what I did. I came back here to Astoria. I borrowed a saw from somebody who was using it for woodwork, and I figured it out. Now, later, I did a lot of research about this instrument and its history, and I discovered that the fact that this man did not want to teach me, it wasn't out of malevolence. It wasn't that he was a bad man or that he didn't want the competition from me. The all-time tradition of this instrument is exactly that. You see somebody performing, you go home, you try it yourself. If you succeed in figuring out how to play the saw on your own, it means you are meant to be a saw player. On that same trip to Austria, we rented a car and we were driving, and I noticed that on the sides of the road there are meadows with cows in the fields, and every cow has a bell on its neck. Is really beautiful, and I noticed through the open window of the car that as we go, every herd of cows has a different pitch of a bell. So I started to research that. I went with my father to all the local souvenir stores. And I was looking for bells, each bell with a different pitch. And at first I collected an octave, 12 bells, each bell with a different pitch. And at the hotel room, I tried to play Happy Birthday to You on those bells, and it worked. Couldn't live without playing them. Sometimes I am not able to play them. For example, I go to visit my father for a few weeks. I feel a lack, a great lack inside of me. And I feel my personality even changes, like I become less happy. And I'd say the first time that I play in the subway after I have not played there for a while, I feel like a catharsis and like I'm me again. When I play in the subway, for me, it kind of feels like a big party with the city.